Afternoon, guys. We've got a little bit of Left 4 Dead in the background today. Bit of a different one. I just wanted to talk about quite a big question that I know I was contemplating when I was in my 20s and still am in my 20s. Should you start a business? Should you become self-employed? Should you become an entrepreneur in your 20s? So I'm going to be talking about that in this video for anybody that maybe work in an employed job and feel like they're not quite satisfying their potential, or perhaps in an employed job and want to have their own little thing, whether that's a side gig or full-time business. Just sharing my experiences and my thoughts on it. So let's get started. So should you start a business in your 20s? In a word, yes, I feel like you should, but there's a lot of variable factors that go into that question. One of the first things I would look at if you are thinking about starting a business in your 20s is what transferable skills do you have from your employed job, which you can perhaps translate and develop into your own gig. So, for example, if you're working in sales, 360 sales, B2B, business to business, can you think about maybe starting your own sort of lead generation service, prospect listing service? A lot of businesses pay good money for that. You've only got to go and look on Fiverr and Upwork, and there's a lot of people that are successful within that sort of industry. In the same instance, if you're working in a service-based business and you're perhaps a residential cleaner, and you want to start developing your own customer base, you can do that with very little capital. I'm a big fan of starting businesses in your 20s with little to no capital. What I mean by that is little to no startup costs. So to give you a bit of background as to what I did in my early 20s, I tried quite a few businesses. I tried a print-on-demand service, a organic candle making business, and the one I sort of landed on, and that's I'm still doing today, is a reselling business. So that was something that I didn't have any experience in, but I knew how to sell. So looking into the industry and what that sort of entails in terms of buying an item and wanting to sell it on for a profit, I started doing my research on YouTube and on Google and looking at what I'd have to do to turn a profit, and just putting it into practice more than anything. So going to the car boot sales, going to the charity shops, and I've sort of got it to a point now where I have a fairly small list of wholesalers that I buy my stock from, and I process it, photograph it, wash it, list it, store it, and it gets sold as an e-commerce business, predominantly on eBay. So starting a business in your 20s can seem quite daunting. There's a lot of videos on YouTube telling you all these get-rich-quick schemes and trading and things like that. But to give you, one single piece of advice for starting a business in your 20s is just start. What are you passionate about? Are you passionate about fixing cars and buying and selling cars and providing a service to your locality whereby you can give people affordable cars to drive? Do you have a background in mechanical elements of a car whereby you can buy it, fix it up and sell it on? But I would say in your 20s you're probably going to try and start quite a lot of businesses, and I would say to you now that they're probably going to fail. It's very rare that your first business that you start is going to be successful. That's just from personal experience and statistically as well, in terms of how many businesses close within the first year, second year, third year. So don't put too much pressure on yourself in terms of having that first business succeed. But I'd definitely say pick something that you're passionate about. For me personally, I love clothes, and I like the idea of getting rid of fast fashion and all the textile waste that we have on this planet. And what I'm doing to combat that is selling pre-loved quality clothing for people to still enjoy. So that's the sort of route I went down. But like I said, I did try, quite a few, different businesses, before I got to one that was profitable and that was scalable, and it took many years to do so. So if you're, in your early 20s or, your mid 20s or late 20s, and you feel like you want to start your own little thing, what are you passionate about? Do you want to help your local community? From, for example, a physical exercise point of view, can you, if you are working as a PT, or you're working in a gym, and perhaps you want to be able to help your local community, going on village runs or town runs, or anything that you feel you would provide a service and a benefit for your customer, then 100% start it. It's not, all the businesses that you start in your 20s, like I said, very rarely you're going to hit a home run on the first try. And for me personally, I had to still have cash flow. So still work a full-time job and then mix this, side gig within everything else that I do. And that's what I'm still doing to this day. So by all means, don't neglect your full-time job, your day job. Still try and progress and still try and succeed within that. But try and take the skills that you learn from your full-time job. Like I said, for me personally, that was always sales. A sales business. In my personal opinion, if you're going to start your own business, you have to know how to sell. You have to understand the psychology and why a customer buys a product or a service. What is in it for them? What benefit are you going to be providing them in exchange for monetary value? And understanding that is absolutely crucial. So if you are perhaps in your early 20s and you don't know what career path to choose, perhaps you're getting your first full-time job, a sales job is something that is low entry. What I mean by that is you very rarely need qualifications to start. And working for a business that perhaps is £5-10 million turnover, not a huge business, will enable you to learn about all the different aspects within a small business, from A to Z, and understand everything about it. And you can take those skills and transfer them to whatever you decide to do with your own little side hustle. That's usually how businesses start, unless you have a sizable capital amount. I'm doing this in one take, so there may be some slight spelling misinterpretations, but unless you have a large amount of capital to fund your business, you're still going to probably have bills to pay. So keeping and maintaining a full-time job, whatever that is, like I said, personally, I would say go into a sales job. That would be my recommendation, so that you can learn on the job as well as earning, and you have the the potential to earn more than your standard pay packet. But that's maybe not for everybody. Not everybody wants to do a sales job for their their full-time employed job. So you might be working a service business, car wash, like I said, residential cleaner, mechanic, anything like that. There is no wrong answer. But if you don't have any qualifications and you don't know what career path to go down to begin with, personally I would recommend getting a sales job, because that will give you transferable skills to your business that you would like to start. And don't put too much pressure on yourself. I see a lot of videos on YouTube with how to make £10,000 a month, and how to make your first £300 a day, and easy, and this is how you do it. Those videos all have merit in their own context. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I'm just telling you personally what I'm just an average UK kid that has aspirations to want to be wealthy and be comfortable and provide a valuable service, whether that's online or in your local community, or nationwide or worldwide, whatever your aspirations are. But sometimes it's just quite nice to hear it from an everyday guy that has tried things, failed in some things, succeeded in some things, and all while living an everyday life as well. I'm not naive enough to believe that you can't just start a business and be rich and successful straight away. It's going to take time. You might lose money, you might make a little bit of money, you might break even, but just start. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Figure out what you want to do, what you enjoy doing, what you feel would be, a good business to start in terms of the profitability of it. So yeah, that's just what I'd like to give as my personal opinion of should you start a business in your 20s. Yes, I think you should start a business in your 20s, and just start. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just start. I would say don't chuck too much money into it. Throwing money at a business and thinking it will work because of it is pretty much always not the answer. If you have a business that you've started and you're perhaps 3 to 6 months in and you're not seeing any, sort of results, then look at the reasons why, break it down, have a business plan, have a goal, and enjoy it as well. The biggest thing, with starting a business is that it's so enjoyable. You are starting something from the ground up, and hopefully it will, be a successful business one day. But just start. That would be, my main takeaway from this video is just start. So if you did enjoy it, please leave a like and please comment, what business did you start in your 20s, or your 30s or your 40s? I can only speak from personal experience. I'm in my late 20s myself. I've tried a few different businesses. One I'm still doing at the moment. And if you are stuck for ideas on what business to start, what transferable skills have you got from your employed job, and what do you enjoy doing? What's your passion? So thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy it, and have a great weekend.